15 minutes. That's nothing, right? For a moment, just think about how quickly 15 minutes passes. Go ahead, we'll give you a second. Now, what if we told you 15 minutes could change your life? Welcome to 15-Minute Transformation with Shana James. 15 minutes out of your day could help transform your mindset, your habits, and your lifestyle. If you're looking to improve your relationships, boost your productivity, or just be happier and more fulfilled, get ready for practical insights and inspiration that you can use right now. 15 minutes to change your life. This is 15-Minute Transformation with Shana James.
I'm your host, Shana L. James, and let's join in for another amazing conversation surrounding how you can have the life you've dreamed in just 15 minutes. Hey, listen, today we're going to kick this off with a very, very cool message, and one that I think is extra important. Now, I'm probably going to say every episode is important, but we're going to be talking today about, in that 15 minutes, about how to be intentional about getting to the life you've always wanted. I want to talk to you about being intentional. What's interesting to me is when I think about intentionality, I think about it this way. I think about if you want to grow a plant, let's say you're like, hey, most of us think about growing plants and in particular producing fruit. Like, I'm gonna be a farmer. I'm not a farmer, guys. Like, I have a black thumb, not a green one. I can't grow a thing. But for people who are, they're very intentional about that growth. They plant a certain seed and then they water it, and then the sun comes and they're intentional about nurturing it and trimming the things until it grows into producing this vegetable or fruit that brings a harvest. But what I think most of us think about when we think about creating the life that we want or about growing is that we kind of think of growth as being something that's just going to happen to us. Like us growing up to be kids, right? Or to adults. When we're children and we grow up to be an adult, how do we become an adult? You just kind of grow up. You just kind of keep growing and you become one. Now, maybe you're not going to become the adult you want to become if you don't put some work and some thought and be intentional, but you do grow, right? You're going to grow. The problem with that is when it comes to reaching our dreams and our goals and having the things that we want to have in our life, leading the type of organizations we want to lead, developing into the character of people that we want, having and raising the type of family that we want, creating the financial lifestyle that we want, having the health that we want, we must be intentional. Growth does not just happen to us. And so we have to be intentional about how we're going to grow. And that's why these 15-minute podcasts are so important, because the whole point of the 15-minute podcast is to help you to say, I'm going to be intentional about how I'm going to apply myself each and every day to make transformation and make changes happen in my life. And I will tell you that if you're not intentional, you're going to look back over your life. And I've heard people say this, but I'm going to say it again today. And this is a really great point. And here is the point. The point is that you are today who you are because of the choices and the decisions that you made 5 years ago. And who you will become in 5 years is a direct result of the choices that you make today. So what are you putting in your life each day that's moving you towards the person you want to be, the salary you want to have, the business you want to achieve, the family you want to have? What are you intentional? And you can't just say, oh, it's just going to happen. No, you got to put some work and some thought into it. And what's interesting is that many of us, we either have this assumption that I'm going to automatically grow, or we don't know how to grow, which is why I'm so glad you're listening to 15-Minute Transformation with Shana L. James, because I'm going to teach you how to grow. Or it's not the right time for us to grow. Maybe it's not my season. That's what some of us think. Or I'm afraid of making, a mistake, so I don't want to grow. Or here's another reason that many of us have a hard time when it comes to growing and achieving the goals we want. You know, we have this perfectionism thing that has to happen with us where I got to get it all together before I can really start working on anything. Like, I've written 6 books, and didn't even talk about this in my earlier podcast, but the 15-minute a day tool, guys, 15 minutes a day. I wrote 6 books, and I've written these 6 books. And what's interesting is most people struggle to write a book, who want to write a book, because they have this thought process. I have to have it all perfect before I release it, before it gets out. And my mentor, John Maxwell, told me, jump, girl, and build your wings on the way down. Okay, maybe he didn't say it like that. That was totally a Shayna-ism. But he told me, jump and build your wings on the way down. So you don't have to be perfect to grow. You just have to be intentional about growing. Some of us, the real issue is we just don't feel like it. Like, I don't feel like working on this to grow. Or we look at other people and say, other people are better than me. Or, you know, we get started and it feels easy, but then we realize how hard it really is. And we're like, I thought it would be a lot easier than this. And so we struggle. We struggle. And because of that struggle, we stop being intentional about our growth. But if you are going to get to the destination that you're supposed to be, that leader, the person, to have what you're supposed to have, you need to know this, that you need to give yourself time. You need to give yourself attention. You need to make space in your life for you to grow. If Rome wasn't built in a day, then ask yourself this question: how long are you willing to invest each and every day towards getting to where you want to get to? Because big things don't happen quickly. You know, everybody talks about these overnight success. I'm going to tell you something. Overnight successes are such lies. There is nobody that's an overnight success. You know, like people look at Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber, oh my God, Justin Bieber, somebody discovered him one day on YouTube and then boom, 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 he blew up. Wait, freeze. Justin Bieber, even though he was a kid, Justin Bieber learned multiple instruments. The kid can play like so many different instruments. Justin Bieber sat in front of his computer screen and recorded himself and posted on YouTube each and every day. He was intentional about where he wanted to be. He was intentional about growing. He didn't sit back and just be like, hey, let me just see what happens. And let me just say this to you. If you are one of those people who just think that life is going to just pop up and happen to you, or if you're one of these believers, let me just say this for all of my believers out there who are just like, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God to show up. God is like, boo, I'm waiting on you. It's what I call spiritual procrastination. We are sitting back and we're not being intentional about what we can do next, about doing steps each and every day to get to where God has called us to be or where we know we're supposed to be. And we're waiting on God to do something that God is like, I'm waiting on you. We need to stop procrastinating and using God as an excuse for the procrastination and get ourselves out there and be intentional and say, I'm going to make this change in my life. I'm going to have, and I think some of us, look, I hope today on this 15-minute transformation, I'm getting you psyched up and pumped up, because some of y'all need a kick in the, you know what? I'm a pastor, so I can't be saying them words, although people who know me know they may slip here and now and then, but God loves me anyway. Look, some of us need a kick in our backside to tell us that it is time. What are you waiting for? Make the steps. And here's the funny part that I found. When you get intentional and you make the steps that you know that God is calling you to make, then God sits on the other side of that step and he's working on your behalf. He's just waiting for you to make the step. If you make the step, then he'll come behind you with the things that you need to help you move to the next level. I call it spiritual momentum. When you begin to just move and obey God, God begins to start moving other things. All of the universe, all the things in the world start to line up to bring to pass what God has told you can have, if you will start making those steps. But you got to make the steps. You got to be intentional. You got to work with it. And so how do we be intentional? Some of that is you got to start dealing with some big questions in your life. Like, where do you really want to be? Some of us can't make big steps because we don't know where we want to be. We don't know what we want to do. We don't have clarity. So we're kind of just out there fumbling through life like, hey, woohoo, Here I am. No. Enough of that fumbling through life stuff. Where is it that you really want to be? I'm going to tell you this, that some of us are struggling to become intentional because we don't know what we want. And that's not bad. It's not a bad thing to not know what you want. But you may need to get intentional to start discovering, what do I want? You may need to get intentional to start looking at, what kinds of things do I really want to see happen in my life? What direction am I really trying to go in? What can I imagine myself doing? And some of you who are like, I don't know what I really want to do. For those of you who know, then, just keep listening. The podcast's only 15 minutes. I'm going to get to some other stuff in a minute. But for those of you who don't know what you really want to do, let me just say this. Start off by just taking some time to figure out. Ask yourself this question. If money weren't an object, what would I be doing with myself? What would I be doing with my life? Where would I be spending my time? And some of us can't fathom what that looks like, so that's a hard question. So, okay, let's back this down. Maybe what have you always wanted to do? Maybe what did you want to do when you were a kid? Or maybe we don't even get that specific and think about changing careers and directions, and maybe just say, what type of person do I really want to be? Like, do I want to want to stop cussing? Then I got to be intentional. Oops. Do I want to, budget my money better? Then I have to be intentional. It doesn't just happen, but that's where I want to be. So I have to decide where I want to be. And once I decide where I want to be, I get to start making steps that move me towards the intentionality. But in order to do it, you need to start now. You need to do it now. Just go after it. Because if you're not intentional about going after it, you're never going to get there. It's like many of us are just walking through life with no place to go, and then wondering, how did we get where we are? We got where we are because we had no intention of where we're trying to go. And then once you get an intention and you decide where you want to go, look, check this piece out. You know what you got to do? You got to get crackhead tenacity. Yes, I said it. You need crackhead tenacity. What the heck is crackhead tenacity? Let me tell you what crackhead tenacity is. I ain't never seen no crackhead who woke up that day and said, you know what, today, because I don't have enough money to buy crack, I'm just not going to use today. I never seen no crackhead who say that. Crackheads will be like, I will do whatever it takes to get the money to get the fix. A crackhead will ride around, borrow their child's bike, steal a microwave, ride around with a microwave with a bike on a bike to try to sell the microwave, and then will sell their kid's bike so that they can have crack to be able to get what they want, which is crack. You need crackhead mentality. You need a crackhead tenacity. And what does that mean? That means I am willing to do whatever it takes to have the life and to achieve the dreams that I'm supposed to have. And I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be specific. I'm going to go after what I need and what I believe I'm supposed to have. And I'm going to do it now. I ain't going to wait till tomorrow. I don't know no crackhead that's being like, okay, I'm going to just wait till 2 or 3 days from now for me to get enough money to get high. Real crackheads. I ain't talking about like your occasional crackhead. I'm talking about your crackhead. Okay, some of y'all, I done lost y'all already because some of y'all are like, oh, I thought this was a business podcast. It is, but I'm going to keep it real. You need to have an intentionality about and you need to have a tenacity. So I want to encourage you to do it and do it now. And don't let fear stop you. So many of us have fear that's keeping us, whether it's a fear of failure, a fear of being overextended in our resources, a fear of success, a fear that we push other people's away or what other people think of us away. Let fear stop us from having and going after and being intentional about things. I want to encourage you. Look, make a decision. Do you want where you are, or do you want where you are, or do you want where you want to be more? Where do you want to be more? Where you are or where you want to be? Because that ought to move you past your fear. That should move you past your fear. So, hey, I'm actually so excited. This is our 15-minute transformation. What do I want you to do? I try to end each of the podcasts by saying, what do I want you to do? What I want you to do is get intentional. I want you to start thinking about, what do I need to do to have the life that I really want? I want you to start saying, what is it? If you don't know what it is, what do I really want? And then ask yourself, what's keeping me from getting what I really want to have? And then I want you to go with crackhead tenacity. Yes, I said crackhead tenacity. Get that crackhead tenacity and go after. That means that's a hunger, a thirst, a thing that's inside of you that I will stop at nothing to get and to move and to continue to grow and do what I need to do each day to achieve the life that God's calling me to have. Hey, thanks for watching or listening to 15-Minute Transformations with Shana L. James. I hope that you are experiencing a transformation that leads you to the life that God's always called you to have.
You've been listening to 15-Minute Transformation with Shana James. If you take 15 minutes of your day and use it how Shana recommends, you will change your life. Shana is a certified life coach, a pastor, and a transformation expert. Real, authentic, and right to the point. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Shana. And be sure to head over to the website at powerof15minutes.com. Remember, if you do something for 15 minutes for 1 year, at the end of the year, you spent 100 hours on that task. Powerful. See you next time on 15-Minute Transformation with Shana James.